to the More Life Project podcast. Today we are talking about your brain and how it's always listening to you. So are you training it to trust you, or are you training it that you don't follow through? Are you lacking motivation, or are you just listening to an inner voice that doesn't know how to coach you yet? This all stems from self-efficacy, which is one's belief in their ability to do things. So if you are familiar with psychology, Albert Bandura, he did a study through Stanford back in the 70s.
He hails from the 70s.
He hails from the 70s. No, he's actually born in 1925. Okay. But he conducted a study because he was trying to determine what motivates people, what determines their success. And so he was going into this concept of self-efficacy and how people are able to get success, get results based on their own inner belief that they are able to do that.
Which is huge.
And what he found is that your inner voice, your inner belief of your abilities is a huge determinant in what you're able to accomplish. And it kind of relates to that quote that you hear, at least growing up in sports, of like, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. It's also like your own belief and your ability to do something can beat natural talent and abilities if that person is kind of beating themselves up internally.
Or you hear like every group fitness, well, I won't overgeneralize, but a lot of group fitness instructors, what you believe you can achieve.
Yeah, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. That quote my dad drilled into my head. Yep. But I know that you and I see this every single day in our studios. There's people that truly believe in themselves and are a great inner coach. They might be outsourcing their coaching to us, but ultimately they have what it takes to kind of talk themselves through challenges and hard things and discomfort. But then on the flip, we see a lot of people that don't realize the power of their thoughts, the power of their words, and how that is impacting their ability to reach fitness results or just be confident, be happy. It stems into mental health.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, even just in training up other group fitness instructors, one of the things that I teach group fitness instructors, that's part of my job, is to train other group fitness instructors, is to tell them to stop saying, I want you to, or I need you to, or do this for me, because we really want people to do the work for themselves, and it really does come from inside. Whether you want to achieve it or whether you believe you can achieve it, it comes from you. So we want to encourage members or athletes that you're training to find it from within.
Yeah. And we kind of came up with this topic to talk about today because I recently celebrated my birthday, Groundhog's Day, best holiday of the year, February 2nd. But
in case you want to send her gifts.
I accept all gifts. I told my members this on mic the week before, and they showed up.
Yeah.
So
she had lots of gifts.
No, I just was really appreciative of the love. But I was celebrating my birthday and spending a lot of time with friends and loved ones, and I was down at the beach because the weather was great. And so I did not work out for over a week. I ate out like 4 times in the span of like 2 days. And
you ate an entire birthday cake.
I ate an entire birthday cake by myself because I should, because it's my birthday.
Yeah. It was a smaller-ish size.
But the point of that is it's so great to be able to just do that, celebrate and live your life, and then move forward. What do you do next after that? And so often I coach on Monday mornings. I am hearing members beat themselves up for what they did over their weekend, which is probably just enjoying themselves and spending time with their family and friends. And they're like, oh, I ate terrible this weekend, or oh, I missed a workout, or I didn't sleep. And yeah, those things have an impact on you if that's what you're doing every single weekend. But what's having more of a negative impact is that self-talk and that self-shame. And
it's the reaction to the missed workout or the indulgent weekend that you had. It's not the indulgent weekend that you had or the missed workout that you had that's going to derail your results or your goals. It's what you do with that information that's going to derail or potentially not even make an impact.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like acknowledging, okay, yeah, maybe that was out of what you had planned for yourself, but talking yourself through that instead of saying, oh, I did horrible, I suck. It's, hey, I enjoyed myself, but now I'm showing up to class. Now I'm drinking my water or eating my protein. And that self-efficacy piece, kind of why I brought up the psychological study, Albert Bandura has like 4 parts to that either lead into somebody's ability to do something and do it well versus the people that aren't able to do that. So it's not only impacting whether someone starts something, it's whether they continue it, how they persist when things get challenging, and then also how you recover after failure, because failure is inevitable in life. You're going to have setbacks or little slip-ups, but what are you going to do next? And so that totally relates to people's fitness journeys and kind of stacks on our episode where we were talking about, the one a couple weeks ago when we were talking about kind of obsessive, slightly disordered behaviors and that all or nothing mindset, the rumination. And so how do I get unstuck on that? And it might be something deeper within. It's not even just your habits. It might not just be that all or nothing mindset. It might be your own ability to believe that you can be successful in it. So.
Well, you were sharing a story about your experience with that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
soccer.
Yeah. One of my biggest examples of this is my soccer career. I started playing soccer when I was 9 years old. I ended up getting the opportunity to play in college. It was NAIA for a very small private university. I was never stellar. I was never D1 bound, but the way that I phrased it was like playing soccer in college was the cherry on top to my experience. And I was a good player. I was never excellent, but I was good and I had what it took. But my mind got in the way. Like I was my worst enemy. And I had a good skill set that I completely let just go to crap, honestly.
What do you mean?
Well, okay.
You're going to have to expand on that.
Well, okay. Here's the thing.
Because you played all 4 years.
I was used to being good at everything that I did. And soccer was the one thing I had to work really, really hard for. So I was really grateful to be naturally gifted in school or to have friends or, I had this perception that I am good at things. So the second that there was something that I had to work a little bit harder for and I wasn't naturally the best, which was playing soccer, instead of me just using that as a motivator to work harder and maybe do extra work outside of practice, maybe hire another coach, I just sat in my frustration and let that just chip away at my confidence. And I had coaches who were very critical. I had coaches who were very intense, and that was not the coaching style that vibed well with me. So I also let that beat me down. But instead of writing myself a more empowering story and having the narrative going through my mind that like, I can overcome this, I am capable of being better, I was playing victim to, well, it's just because my coaches don't give me a shot. Or, I was outsourcing all of the bad experiences and not taking ownership over. It was really just the voice in my head that was telling me, you're not good enough. You're too tired. I have asthma. I let that get in the way, which it's not exercise-induced asthma. It's like anxiety-induced asthma. Oh, no. But I would be so anxious on the soccer field, like, oh, the ball's going to come to me. Oh my gosh, don't screw this up. Don't screw this up. Yeah. Of course, then the ball comes and I screw it up and my first touch sucked. And, or I would see an opportunity to score and be like, okay, well, don't screw this up. Or maybe you're not going to make it. And then my shot on goal that I've mastered in practice a million times all of a sudden looks horrible and I missed the...
So your approach to it was to already think of the things that could go wrong.
Yes.
And why you might not be successful.
Yes. And that became my story.
Yeah.
Until the day it wasn't, which was literally like a week. It was like the last game. It was a week before the last game of my junior year in college. And I was just like, screw this. Because I would go home and cry after every single soccer practice.
It's terrible.
I'd call my mom. I would cry. I wanted to quit. I was trying to find any way to replace that scholarship money. It was horrible. The things that kept me is my teammates. I loved that environment. And I truly did love the sport. Now we're not friends. I have some trauma. But I just decided to switch my mindset. And it was actually, okay, so my college senior thesis is on self-efficacy.
Okay.
And I did a little study.
Did you educate yourself into a better mindset?
I did.
It's amazing.
My degree's in psychology.
Go college.
And I started, I took a sports psychology class and was just learning about the power of the mind and your belief. And I didn't put, A plus B equals C then, but now I'm like, that's probably what shifted me. And I literally remember the exact day that I walked down to the soccer field. We'd walk down this hill to the field and I'm just like, screw this. Instead of me hating my life and walking down here and just getting through this practice, I'm just going to say it's a beautiful day to play some soccer. And I was early and I actually started the team. I was like, okay, let's get up. Let's start juggling. Let's start kicking the ball around. My coach was like, what happened to Lauren? Like, you know, because I was the one that was sitting on the bench, just like waiting to have to go. But I was like, okay, let's get moving. And I
can't even picture you as like sad cloud energy.
Actually crazy.
Yeah.
And that's the part that was so hard for me. It was so opposite of who I was in every other part of my life. And that would really frustrate me too. Because I'm like, well, they just don't understand me. My coaches don't see the true me. But that was the true me in that moment because that's what I was choosing for myself.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, it's a beautiful day to play soccer. Let's go. And my coaches were like, who is this girl? I'm like, what do you mean? And I was just it was fun.
Yeah.
Then I crushed it in practice. That last game of the season, I remember we were in Arizona, traveled from California to Arizona. My little brother was there, so that was also an extra motivator. And one of the girls got injured on the field and they threw me in because I was bench sitting. I was riding that bench.
Wow.
But I was also not just sitting next to my coach. My dad always told me, sit next to your coach and ask him how you can be better. Ask him to go in. Listen to what he's saying about the other girls. And instead I played victim, went all the way to the end of the bench because I'm just like, I just want to hide. But this day they put me in. And because I was just there having fun, like it's a beautiful day to play some soccer, I crushed it. And then come my senior season, I ended up becoming a captain because of me just stepping down onto the field positive. And I chose every day to just show up for my team, which impacted the ability to play better. And then the wins just stack. Then I'm like, oh, I can play well in a game. And I ended up starting and playing almost every minute of my senior season.
This reminds me, because the episode you just mentioned, I think that just aired, and I was re-listening to that, and we were talking about focusing on yourself so much that it gets in your way. Yeah. And that's basically the same thing. Like you just stopped focusing on that you weren't doing the things that you thought you could accomplish or whatever, the negative self-talk. Yeah. You put that aside. You started thinking about your team. You started thinking about the experience that you were having. You started thinking about what a gift it was to be able to use your body. And maybe you weren't cognizant of that in that much detail in that time, but it changed everything.
Yeah. And it was also this was my senior season. I knew I was going to hang up my cleats after that. And so it was just having more of that gratitude mindset going into it rather than the victim or the idea of lack or not being enough. And so
and here's how it plays out a lot for us in the fitness profession when we are counseling individuals coming to us with goals and discouragements. Often it's what Lauren just described. It's I ate over the weekend and I'm not going to accomplish this goal because my goal was to lose this amount of weight, or my goal was to lose body fat, and I had an entire birthday cake by myself over the weekend and now I'm never going to make that goal. Or it's I had a baby, and I had a baby 2 years ago, and I just never lost the baby weight. And I think this is just my body now. We hear that a lot. Guys, well, I was an athlete in high school or college, or women, I was an athlete in high school and college, and I gained a lot of weight after that. And now I just think that this is what it is. Like, I'm never going to get back to my glory days. And that, if you believe that, that's the truth. You will never get back to your glory days. But there's this, I think, this misconception that you're not able to accomplish something great even in a new stage of life. So my glory days, like back in high school and college, sure, I am not going to hit those speeds that I was running in high school and college. But I can still be pretty exceptional in my endeavors if I choose to be, if I choose to work hard for that. I'm not going to believe this thing about myself because I'm older, I'm not going to be able to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. I may have to reframe my accomplishment, like, really be realistic about what I'm able to accomplish, because I know how much I'm willing to work for it or not willing to work for it. Yeah. So I think there's some ownership that's required in that. But we do hear a lot of just really discouraged people believing falsehoods about themselves.
Yeah. So the research on self-efficacy and how you can build that up. If you are recognizing while listening to this, I lack my own belief in my own abilities. How do I change that? The 4 aspects that Albert Bandura was talking about were mastery experiences. So what that means is doing something even imperfectly. So that's typically just starting, or something that we've talked about a lot. Instead of, I have to fit an hour-long, really high-intensity workout in. If you only have 20 minutes, take that 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I was talking about this with so many members during our Transformation Challenge consults these last couple of weeks is if you only have 5 minutes to go take a walk, go take those 5 minutes because that builds your ability to know I'm going to show up for myself even when it doesn't look perfect. Because life does happen. And these conversations I was typically having with moms with small kids that are like, I want to set my schedule, but if my baby's up all night, I should probably take a little bit of sleep or I can't go. And I'm like, absolutely. But can you get a 10-minute walk in later?
Yeah.
So it's those mastery experiences, completing something rather than nothing. It's verbal persuasion. So the voice in your head, as well as the people around you. Are you surrounding yourself with people who are building you up? Are you surrounding yourself with people who do believe in you? I hope so.
I know.
I really hope so. And if you don't have enough of that, start seeking that. But also knowing that you have power in your mind and your heart to persuade yourself that you can do something. And this is what my dad did for me when I was younger. He believed in me with soccer. And he knew I was just beating myself up. Like I said, I would cry every day. And I had this in college. I just said the college experience, but I actually had it a time again in 8th grade. So it was like I went through it in each season of soccer and I always got through it. But what he would do is he would write quotes and put them on sticky notes on my mirror.
Aww.
And I still have all of these saved. I was really stubborn back then, so I acted like I didn't read them, but I did. And they meant a lot to me. And these are the things that I would just let play through my mind. I didn't believe it myself, so I took someone else's words and I just made that my repetition reel in my mind. And so verbal persuasion, it means a lot. You hear people say affirmations, do it. Like tell yourself, I am strong, I am capable. I experience hard things, but then I persist through them and I come out better on the other end. Whatever you need to tell yourself is that. So mastery experiences, verbal persuasion, your emotional and physiological state does make a difference too. People beat themselves up when they're tired or they beat themselves up when they're stressed. And you kind of touched on this, even just, I'm a mom now, so I'm not the same, or I'm not a collegiate athlete anymore, so I just can't get there. That's telling yourself, you're putting yourself in a box. And it's, I'm tired, but I still chose to show up. Or I'm really stressed, so I'm going to use this as an outlet. I'm a mom now, so I create new strength. I'm modeling this for my child. I'm choosing myself so that I can give more to my family. It's making sure that you kind of acknowledge your feelings, yes, but how you're interpreting those feelings, how you're interpreting your stress, your fatigue, your life stage is going to determine whether or not you are able to make that into something positive.
Yeah.
Don't be a victim to your life stage. And then the last one is social modeling. This kind of goes into having people around you that are going to be positive and build you up. But identify someone that is living the life that you desire. Identify someone that is in your same life stage or your same situation that's doing it anyway. And maybe that's someone on social media. Maybe that's someone on a TV show. I don't know. Those people kind of seem far off, but you can kind of model after them.
Yeah. Or better yet, find somebody that's actually doing it and then ask them how.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. If you've got a mom friend that seems to be able to figure out how to get to the gym and exercise or eat right, ask her, how are you doing that? What does your schedule look like?
Yeah. And here's something on the other side of that. If you are the person that does have it figured out, don't
gatekeep.
Don't gatekeep, but also don't diminish it. Because there's people, I think about this at work, are really successful studio managers. And I try to get them to share their best practices with people. Like, you just do it. It's just vibes, you know? You do it.
Just vibes.
And the person, if you're listening to this, you know who you are. I love you to death. And I'm like, no, it's not just vibes. And
it's
you don't
work.
just do it.
Yeah.
She is so detail-oriented, structured.
Yeah.
She shows up every single day to give 120% and leads by example and encourages her team to do the same. And so if you are someone that maybe has your fitness routine worked out as a mom, or you have really great career success and you're able to balance healthy relationships and be active at the same time, and someone's asking you how you got to your destination, truly try to break that down so that you can share that wisdom with other people and make them feel that they're capable too. Because if you say, oh, it's easy, I just do it, that person is going to feel discouraged because they can't just do it. It does take effort. So.
Yeah. I think as you were talking, I had written some notes yesterday, so this actually plays in well to what I wanted to chat about on this topic. When you are realizing that you are off track in whatever area it is. Instead of taking that in as a failure, take it in as data. Take it in as information that you can now do something with. So for instance, like with Lauren's examples, if you missed a workout, if you're a busy exec or you're a busy mom and you've missed a workout, you were going to go on Monday at 5 a.m. and you missed your workout.
I will find you if you missed my class.
Yeah, you missed Lauren's 5 a.m. She hunts you down. But okay, and if it's a Tuesday night at 6:30 and you missed your workout, instead of just like, oh my gosh, I failed again. I'm never going to get this together. This sort of all or nothing. Like if you can't get in your 1 hour workout, you were saying like, go do a 10-minute walk. Mm-hmm. Use that information. Okay, you know what? On Mondays, I cannot get a 1 hour workout in. On Mondays, I need to reorder my schedule. And I've taken in that data. It's not a failure. It's data collection. And I am going to make a different goal. I'm going to do a 10-minute walk on Mondays instead. And I'm going to be really intentional about my food choices on Mondays because I tend to have a hectic day. So I'm going to meal prep on Sundays and I'm going to just do a 10-minute walk. And then if it's a nighttime workout that you just can't make, why? Is it because you're trying to do a workout at 6:30 on Tuesdays and Tuesdays happens to be your longest day and you're exhausted at the end? So whatever it is, do some assessment. It just is information, and information is power. Take that information and do something with it. It does not have to be shame on you.
Yeah. Something that I repeat over and over again. And now that I'm coaching 2 days a week, I'm like, I might need to change up. I need to change up how I say this. But the reason it's my repetitive cue is the thoughts going through your mind have the ability to lead you to success or be your biggest detractor.
Yeah.
And your thoughts are a choice. People think your thoughts just happen because they pop in and we think that we don't have any control over it, but you get to choose your thoughts. So you can choose that shame or that guilt, or you can choose to say,
did you just pat your coffee?
I patted my coffee because I almost just dumped it. I just hit it.
It's good.
I'm talking
We
with my
almost had
hands.
a mistake.
This is my emotional support coffee. Number 1 of probably 3 today. No, but your mind is either your best friend or your biggest detractor.
Yeah.
And you do get to choose. So if your typical thought pattern is, and just to relate this to Orange Theory and my coaching, is on the treadmill, you're in a long push or you're in all out. Oh, this sucks. I'm uncomfortable. My muscles hurt. Oh my gosh, my heart is beating on my chest. I just went into the red zone. Oh my gosh, I should stop. You're going to feel that pain and discomfort of that effort so much harder than if your thought is, wow, this is really hard, but I'm getting stronger. Wow, this is really hard, but that's the point. That's why I showed up.
Yeah.
Because this challenge is not just training me here in this room to tackle the tread effort or to tackle the heavy lift. This challenge is representative of a different challenge in my life, whether that's a challenging relationship that you have or a work struggle that you're going through, or, maybe it's a health battle and you have to have a really strong, sharp mind to make sure that you take that narrative and say, I experience hard things and I persist. These challenges don't define me. My weakness is not a definition. My weakness is temporary because I'm putting in the work to overcome that and become a better version of myself. The wins you have in a workout are not just physical. It's mental. And that is huge. And as someone that was a victim of their own mind and their own sob story and their own victimhood, I just want to preach that as much as possible because
it's so powerful. I honestly, are you somebody that when you go in for like a benchmark, and so at Orange Theory, we have these benchmark workouts. So we'll time a 500-meter row or we do a mile run. Are you somebody that wants to know what their PR is before you go in? Or are you somebody that just goes in and like is going to do the best you can in that moment?
I think we're going to have opposing opinions on this.
Oh, I know 100% we're going to have opposing opinions on this. But go ahead.
Yes.
You like to know.
I need to know because I need to know where I'm at today. And you need to be really real with yourself. And here's what I tell my members. Are you in peak form today? And if you are, know what your goal is and be so certain on it so you can create a direct plan to get that achievement you're looking for, that desired result.
Yeah.
If you know you're not in peak form, you should still know where you were to set a realistic. okay, today, day 1 of my cycle, if I was doing that 500-meter row, I know I'm not going to get 1 minute, 25 seconds. But guess what? I'm not just going to throw in the towel. I can get 1:30.
Yeah.
I could probably get 1:28.
Well, I ask that because I don't look at my PR before the workout because of that reason you just gave. Because if I am not feeling 100% going in and I look at my PR and I think I'm off even by a second, I throw in the towel. I'm like, well, I'm not going to get it anyways. And I get discouraged. I get mentally discouraged before. But if I just go and I say, it doesn't matter, I am going to give 120% right now, regardless of what my goal was previously or what my PR was previously, regardless of how I'm feeling, I'm just going to give whatever I'm capable of giving in this moment. And that's when I always PR. Because I don't even know.
You're not stressing about it.
I'm not stressing about it. And it's the same thing. And this was the case for me when I was running competitively. If I was next to the fastest person that I knew had beaten me before, or who I knew was really fast, I wouldn't win. But if they were 3 lanes over, I probably had a better shot at it. Because if I see them pulling ahead or I think that they're going to get,
So I think we need to work on your self-efficacy.
Yeah, I give it. I totally give in. But if I am my blunders,
that's not even necessarily self-efficacy. That's kind of like just comparison.
It's self-sabotage. It is not staying in my own lane, pun intended. Yeah. But it's when I lose sight of what my goals are and what I'm trying to accomplish for myself, and I start looking around or I start overanalyzing. That's when I struggle. I wanted to share this quote with you.
Can I give one last point on that?
Yes, I would love another point.
Or do you want to do your quote first?
No, you go right ahead.
So what I do instruct people though is I always say, like, you can't expect your peak every time.
No.
You can't expect to PR every single time in your journey, because also your ability to show up for a tread benchmark versus a row benchmark versus a strength lift on the floor. There are different seasons where maybe you're more focused on strength and muscle building versus cardio and endurance.
Right.
But it's your journey, and you have all these little data points on your journey. And so I was literally doing this to them on Wednesday with the benchmark. It's like, your journey is probably going to look like this, but what you want to see is this, not this. Totally. And so it's, if I'm not at my peak today, I'm not throwing in the towel and giving up. It's, can you stay within 3 to 5 seconds of what your peak was?
Yeah. Consistently
year after year after year. That's a huge win. Stop shaming yourself.
1.5 minutes if you're talking about your mile run.
Yeah, I'm just talking about this benchmark row. Yeah, sorry.
This one specifically. No, but I think that's a really good point. And I think it's important to remember that sometimes you have to set new PRs. So especially for me, who was a competitive runner that was running at very fast speeds in my 20s and my 30s. Even when I started my career with Orange Theory, I was 38. I could still run a sub 6 mile. I am not training in the way that I would need to train in order to run a sub 6 mile. If I was really, really focused on running a sub 6 mile at 50, I absolutely could pull that off, but it would be a lot of work and I'm not willing to do that work. So I have a new PR. I've got a new goal to reach, and that's okay.
The More Life Project is sponsored by Orange Theory Fitness. Orange Theory is an all-in-one dynamic blend of strength and cardio training that supercharges your metabolism to burn more calories and build lean muscle. Certified coaches guide you through science-backed workouts designed for all fitness levels. To learn more and to get your first class for free, stop in or visit orangetheory.com.
The More Life Project is a production of Aspire Holdings, LLC. The views and opinions expressed on the More Life Project podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Aspire Holdings, LLC, its sponsors, affiliates, or employees. The information shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered medical or professional advice. Please consult with your healthcare provider before making any changes to your fitness, wellness, or nutritional routines.
I just hear that so much, and it kind of breaks my heart because sometimes I'm meeting with women and they're pulling at their stomachs and they're like, but look at this, look at this. And I'm like, did you have children?
Right.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm not saying that you can't change that,
right?
But realistically, your skin is a little stretched, and you have that fat there as women for healthy hormones, and you've done a really incredible thing. And stop comparing your 50-year-old body to your 20-year-old body,
right?
And then telling yourself you're a failure now.
And
you're
this is
a failure
for guys too,
because you literally gave life.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And men go through, I don't want to leave our men listeners out because men go through this too.
Well, yeah, they're like, my biceps used to be this much in diameter and now they'll be this much in diameter. I'm like, you better work on that.
They get some belly fat too. And it's, I think that it's discouraging for them. We hear it from our guy members all the time, that they're frustrated.
They get upset about the benchmarks for sure.
For sure. Mm-hmm. For sure. So it's okay to reassess where you're at and set new goals for yourself. But, okay. So this was, I read an article on the Very Well Mind website. Dr. Rachel Goldman, she's a psychologist, a clinical assistant professor at the NYU School of Medicine. Another one of those schools that neither you or I attended. For the very smart people.
Sounds like very smart.
I was going to say, it sounds like you were probably, you could have gone to one of these.
If I wanted to
schools.
go to a very smart school, I definitely could have. My test scores were phenomenal.
My test scores were not phenomenal.
The acceptance rate at my university I went to was like a 21% acceptance rate or something like that.
Wow.
Not that I need to prove that I'm smart.
Yeah. I got smarter. I got smarter in college than I did in high school. I think
I got dumber.
I got much smarter.
I stopped caring as much, unfortunately.
I think that my brain matured when I got to college and it turned it on. But it wasn't, I had to work really hard for it.
Yeah.
But not my point.
I used to really love school and then I decided I didn't love school and I just needed to get through it and just be done with it. So I was definitely.
Yeah. College was when I finally figured it out. I learned how to study and my brain just matured. But anyways. This is what she says. Challenge unhelpful thoughts. It is crucial to remember how thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are linked. And this is kind of what you were saying. Your behavior is linked to what you think and how you feel. So instead of focusing on whether the thought is negative, ask yourself if it's helpful. So if you're in the middle of a hard effort or you're in the middle of a journey toward weight loss or building muscle, it is going to, your thoughts about that are going to impact your behaviors. And I follow this guy. He's this kid. He's really young. I mean, I think he's in his early 20s. And he started out at over 500 pounds and just decided he had had enough. And so he was going to start working out. And he's on social media and he's doing these weigh-ins and he's really showing his progress. And it is small wins. It's like I could walk from my house to the community pool in my neighborhood without my walker today. Or, I could walk on the treadmill for 3 full minutes and it's incredible. But when he's doing his weigh-ins, there are times where he's gained a pound. And I think that is the kind of thing that can totally, how he feels about that moment can completely derail his success. Because if that extra pound that he had gained said to him, you failed, you're a failure, you were terrible, you're never going to be free from this, he would be so, so much worse off. But that he just says, okay, today was not successful, tomorrow's going to be better.
Yeah. That's
what we're saying. And obviously that's a huge goal, but it's important to remember that these small stumbles, you don't have to have emotional ties to them because that will impact your behavior.
Yeah. Again, it's, how often, what's the ratio between you have a win, you do something really awesome, you stay committed to what you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
How often are you going to make that your identity or at least give yourself the credit that's due for that versus when you stumble, when people say, I'm lazy, I'm stupid, I suck, I'm unable to do this. People usually very much cling to those things and those things just roll off the tongue so easy for a lot of people versus wow, I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah.
I did what I said I was going to do. It wasn't perfect, but I showed up. And making sure that those are the things that you're saying in your mind, and then especially the things that you're verbalizing, but taking captive over. If you do say, I'm an idiot, it's like, no, actually, I'm not. I don't know why I just said that because it becomes repetitive. Yeah.
It's good. It's good stuff. I think I want to encourage people to talk, like Lauren said, if you don't have somebody in your life that is just naturally your cheerleader, seek that person out. So we've said this many times, find a fitness professional, find a friend that will speak truth into you about your success, about what you are trying to accomplish. Because if you do have somebody speaking to you, like I've got members, Lauren's got members all the time that come to us frustrated or afraid that they've screwed up. And when we just speak truth into them over and over and over, we see that change. We see them begin to believe that. And there's just something so powerful in that. Find people that believe in you.
Because it then goes into every other part of your life.
Right.
So it might start as something that is really small. Your ability to just show up to a workout, but you build that confidence. You learn that you are someone that can be trusted. We all want to be trusted by the people in our lives, but it's like, are you trusted by your own mind? Do you actually trust yourself? So it might start with showing up to a workout, but then you learn, oh my gosh, I can show up for other people. I show up better at work, because that feeling, that energy that you get, that little bit of accomplishment and fulfillment, and knowing that you do the things that you say you're going to do, that then goes and trickles into every other part of your life, and you're actually to be able to be more efficient and effective everywhere else in your life.
Yeah.
And show up for other people and be an inspiration and influence on other people too, whether or not you know that people are watching.
Yeah, I love that. And start cataloging your wins and the things that you are successful in, the things that you are good at. Like we were just talking about, I mean, I didn't have the grades to go to probably a really great college, but I did have confidence in my ability to read and write well. And I believed things about myself that were true, because I also had parents that believed good things about me and said good things about me and reminded me that I was smart in these ways. And maybe I was really bad at math, could not pass that algebra class, but that didn't define me. And that's the thing, that you have to write out the things that you are good at. And so I did that a lot. I have done that a lot. Like I maybe not physically written those things out, but I am a really good, communicator, or I am a really good friend, or I am really good at making this particular meal that I know is healthy for me and that I know satisfies me. And I'm going to build on those successes. I'm going to believe those things about myself. And then the things that I am not as good at, I can get better at. I may not be the best at. I may not be so if you're trying to be a runner, you know what? We're not saying set unrealistic goals. If you are not a natural runner, or you don't really like running, you're probably not going to be a marathoner that is, going to win the gold medal. So we're not saying be unrealistic, but start saying, okay, well, these are the things I'm not as good at, but I can get better at, and I want to get better at, and I'm willing to do the work to get better at those things. And then there's a list of things that, you know what? I'm not particularly good at this. I don't really care that much if I'm good at this. I'm not going to let the fact that I'm not good at this cause me anxiety or shame. I'm just going to be okay with the fact that that's not a strength of mine. And so just being realistic and truthful with yourself about those things, and then talk to others about it.
Mm-hmm. This reminds me of, so I love deep questions. My love language is deep conversations.
Are you going to throw a deep question at me?
I am.
I wish you would prep me with these before. We talk 4 times a day. You could prep me with some deep questions.
I did not. This is something I thought of in the moment, because it's something this weekend. I got a new question game. I have like 3 of these deep question games where they're the cards and you pull them out, because this is what I love to do.
Yeah.
So I got a new one, and I was at the beach with my friend, and we brought them down and we went through a couple.
Okay.
But this is on topic of the self-talk and our own beliefs in ourselves. Mm-hmm. And the question was, what is one thing that you wish people noticed more about you? And we didn't actually answer this question, but it segued into the compliments that we got when we were younger from other people. So if you're outsourcing your beliefs and your abilities and your confidence to what people tell you are versus what you tell you are, that's a really slippery slope and a dangerous place to be. But you might not even acknowledge that until those compliments stop coming. So I'm 31, she's 34. And we talked about the compliments we got in our youth, as little girls, or even in your 20s. And they're usually external things, compliments like, oh, you have a beautiful smile, or, your eyes light up, or great, whatever.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, I feel confident. I feel pretty. And then the older you get, the less compliments that you get. Or maybe you're just in a different emotional state, so you don't shine the way that you used to, which is something that happened for me. But then what do you believe? You stop getting that compliment you got for years and years and years. It's like, oh, am I not that anymore? Then do you start like nitpicking yourself? And I definitely did that. So I was outsourcing my confidence to what people told me I was rather than what I believed I was. And that's not even in my own ability to pursue or complete a task or, you know, achieve something. It's just my own worth.
Yeah.
So, and you can outsource that worth to God, by the way, and not other people, and not even just yourself. But that was one of the deep questions. But I do have others if you want me to ask you.
Well, it's funny because I am getting ready to speak at a women's group, and it's not on that specifically. It's on aging and how challenging that can be for both men and for women. This is a women's group, so I'll be addressing it to women. But I was listening to podcasts on the topic, trying to really think about how I wanted to address this. And this woman was talking about how, and my husband and I have talked about this, how for those who take a lot of value in their appearance and have been, this woman, the way that she described it was Jen Wilkin, highly decorated externally. What happens when that fades, and how much harder it is for the highly decorated to have their looks fade and not receive, like you said, those same compliments as they get older. I just hope that there's somebody still in your life, you know, for the rest of your life that will always compliment you in that, because it is, you know, as you get older and you start to look back at pictures of yourself, or you're looking in the mirror, you're like, wow, that's another wrinkle. It can be discouraging, but believing new things about yourself, or like you said, I think it's really valuable to look inside and think, what are areas of my life or areas of my character or my personality or my work ethic that I'm really proud of, that I feel good about, even if no one else sees that. I think it's a really good exercise and a really good practice.
Yeah. I was actually listening to a podcast this week that was about that too. And it was talking about Botox, fillers. It was talking about this like anti-aging culture that we're in, where we feel this intense pressure to stop this very natural thing that happens to all of us. And the host, it's a daughter and her mom, but they were actually talking about the daughter's grandma, so the mom's mom. And they're like, the last thing, they're like, yeah, grandma's so beautiful, but like the last thing I ever think about is her looks.
Right.
She takes care of herself, you know, because we need to take care of ourselves. But she does that not for shallow reasons. And, but they're like, you know, my 80-year-old grandma, the last thing I'm looking at is her appearance. And in anyone's funeral, the last thing anyone's saying is like, yeah, well, her hair always looked immaculate and she had the most beautiful blue eyes. It's just, those are things that, yes, people will probably acknowledge and remember about you, but it's your heart and it's your character and it's your values and how you're serving people and loving people. And that it's just so true, but we become so consumed with what we look like or what we're not. And then that self-talk then also impacts the way that you show up. And so kind of circling back to how I answered that question, I used to get this one compliment over and over and over again in my life. And then I went through a really hard time, and it was always on my smile. It was always, you're radiating, you're always smiling, you're just such a joyful person. I got that. I remember the first time I got that compliment when I was in like 3rd grade or 2nd grade. And then that was just a repetitive thing. And then I went through a really hard time, that really hard breakup, that I was like really not okay for a long time. And I wasn't joyful. And then that's what started like a 3-year period of not receiving that compliment.
Oh, how sad.
And then I just believed that about myself. Like, I'm like, okay, maybe it's just not.
Maybe my smile has already faded. I'm not even 30 years old yet.
But then I started getting that compliment again recently, but it's not because anything in my appearance changed. It's all how I am showing up.
Yeah.
And it's the light that I either am or am not bringing to a space, and the type of energy that I'm carrying because of my own beliefs in myself or my circumstances. And that all segues back into what we first started talking about, which is self-efficacy. And that's a little bit more on self-worth or self-perception, but also your self-efficacy, your belief in yourself, and
it's all tied.
Stems, and you can't live your life waiting for your circumstances to define any of those things. Your belief in yourself, your worth, or your perception. You choose that. You have the power in that.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a wellness podcast. People automatically think, oh, exercise and nutrition.
Right.
Maybe mental health, but your inner dialogue, your self-talk, like how you choose to show up for yourself in your mind is the catalyst for everything else. It starts everything else. Absolutely. So.
Wow, that was so fun. I really enjoyed this conversation.
We're done with it? You're over it?
I think so. I mean, I think that we've really covered a lot of
This is her trying to get out of me asking her those hard questions.
No, I will answer that question. I did think about it.
Okay.
Would you like me to answer that question? So when I was young, I mean, I got some external compliments a lot, about my eyes or my muscles or whatever. And so, I got that. But I also got a compliment a lot. And I've brought this up on the podcast before because I had some trauma growing up that I was mentally tough. And I did not understand that compliment, did not know what that meant, did not have anybody ever explain that to me. And then as I got older, it became something that I really did understand differently and understand why people were giving that compliment to me. Sometimes I think it may not have been as helpful, but I do believe that about myself. I don't hear it as much now because I don't think that that's a compliment you give to adults. Like I would, I don't know, but in that way, I mean, I think that some people are probably given that compliment as an adult, but I think I do believe that about myself. Yeah. How about you?
Well, I kind of just already shared mine.
Oh, right.
But one other question we can end it on.
Yeah.
Another one was, what do you wish more people asked you about more often?
I don't know.
I can share mine, and my friends was the same too, because we're both very much go. Mm-hmm. We're kind of fixers by nature. We want the best for people. And we were kind of talking about our families and how we kind of try to help, but we're like, how come nobody ever asks, how are you? Because it also goes with work. We have teams, and we always have to make sure that they're okay and help them. But it's who's actually, how are you doing? I would love if someone just asked me
how you're doing.
Yeah. How's your heart? That's how I worded it. Mm-hmm. Someone to ask me, how is your heart?
Yeah.
And actually want the real response, as opposed to how are you? Oh, I'm good.
You don't have team members that ask you that? I have a few team members.
How my heart is?
Yeah. Not your heart.
Yes, but I can't give a legit answer to them. To my team.
I love that you're saying that. But I more so
mean to have relationships like that.
Yeah.
Or a relationship like that. Or my family.
Yeah.
How's your heart? But we're not very feelings people.
You're not a feeling family. You'll have somebody that'll ask you that.
I'm a very feeling person. I'm just the black sheep. I'm just why do you feel things so deeply? Maybe you just shouldn't feel things so deeply. That would be nice.
I do love it though when I'll call and check in on some of my team members and be like, okay, so how are you doing? What's going on? And then but wait, before I answer, how are you doing? And I'm like, I know who
you're talking about.
You want to know how I'm doing? Yeah, because
that's a very feeling person specifically.
No, I don't think you do know who I'm talking about. Oh. Somebody that you would never even suspect. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking me that.
I can think of actually a couple on your team that way.
Yeah. Well, okay. You have more for me?
Well, you didn't answer that question. But
I did, because you said you were going to answer that question.
We're going to wrap it up.
I can answer if you asked it.
Hopefully you walk away from today feeling a little bit better about yourself, or maybe realizing that there are some thoughts that you allow to be repetitive thoughts going through your mind, or you have some deep beliefs about yourself that maybe you can start to chip away at and start to reframe. And the best way to start is just when that thought comes through your mind, redirecting it.
Yeah.
Rather than I'm not, or I can't, or this is, it's, something positive in those ways.
And realistic.
Yeah, realistic. But practicing that more positive self-talk and knowing that that is going to make a huge difference in your ability to get where you want to go. We're all on a journey. We're all on a journey. And you're the captain.
Wow.
You're the captain of your ship.
Wow.
Your inner voices.
That's good.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening, you guys.
We will see you next time.